Hello everybody, welcome back to the Refresh Point. My name is Ben, and as always, I'm joined by my constant co-host, Steve. Steve, how's it going?
We're doing good. We're the winter season is slowly wrapping up, and along with our competitive season is wrapping up a lot faster than we thought it would. So it's time to secure those last-minute Worlds invites and play some Weiss Schwarz.
Play some Weiss Schwarz. Speaking of competitive tournaments, BCS Chicago just wrapped up biggest singles tournament of the season so far. 230 players. The ban list dropped and is going to be going into effect shortly after that tournament. I think it's just already in effect right now. And we can give our belated takes on that. And with that, the end of the singles season creeps ever closer. So let's shuffle your decks, tap or cut, and we'll get right into the refresh point with some breaking news. BCS Chicago. I wasn't there. You may have noticed. I had some family issues come up. It is what it is. I'll see y'all at Tampa and Pasadena.
Yeah, so Chicago represents the last gasp of the previous meta before this ban list update. So if you are looking at that top 16, it should look like a top 16 of all time. Almost nothing in here is very surprising. All these sets are pretty bog standard, have been roaming around the meta almost all season. The only thing that looks a little strange is we have a Hololive deck in second, using the Cali Shell with the Aqua top end, which is fine. It's a pretty standard finisher. It's not gonna blow you away or anything, but it's certainly workable apparently.
Yeah, dude.
The rest of it is exactly the decks that you would think it would be.
You're just gonna what is it? You're just gonna subtweet Riaz like that? Just not even gonna call him out? Just not even gonna mention who played it.
The thing is, if I say who played it, right?
Yeah.
Then it gives credence to a deck I don't like.
It's okay for you to not like it.
I don't. It's a fine deck.
It's okay.
It's okay.
There's nothing wrong with you not liking the deck.
It's important to acknowledge and understand the idea that, as I've said many times on this podcast, great players beat great decks every time, and they always will. So this is a very sharp example of it, where we have a deck that is fine. It's completely fine. The Cali Shell has been proven for at least well over a year now. Obviously, I believe in it, but we've reconfigured maybe 10 to 15 of the cards to get this Aqua package in, to give it hexproof and make it where you can sometimes early summon it, and then it's just like a regular finisher. What do you get out of it?
You get stock shuffle options too for when it's like fresh deck and they have a lot of stock.
Yeah. So it has modality. The finisher, if you've never seen it before, it's basically you can choose one of two things. You can either discard 2 cards to burn 3, or you can stock shuffle your opponent. And it's on placement. It does heal. So it's another one of these finishers that is very hard to triple because you need like a absolutely ginormous hand. And on top of that, it does provide some triggers to the deck. So the Pants trigger obviously has soul triggers attached to it, which improves the Cali Shell in general. So there's that. So kind of reminiscent in trigger count to the old Gura decks. But yeah, a totally fine deck, and obviously did very well.
Yeah, we'll get into the rest of it in the spike corner, but as well, Quince properly came out. Blue Archive is incoming, and the ban list has dropped. Alert. Yum is dead. Yum and Muron, dead card. Overlord. Why, man?
You shouldn't have won. You shouldn't have won. Whoever you are, you shouldn't have won.
Why did they kill it so much harder than slime? I love too how they're like, yeah, we want to have some decks that are gonna be able to compete on the board with, you know, like incoming Albuda choice and Persona 3 protagonist Thanatos. So we didn't want to kill slime too hard. We just wanted to hit some of the consistency of it early on. Yeah. And SDS now cannot play the 1-stock Fumio. They now have to play the 3-stock Fumio instead. And they also lose their main bouncer, which is, I don't know, something.
Yeah.
Chosen with the stock swap.
Yeah. So the ban list update, it's good to leave decks coming out of a ban list update in a state that you think they can be played. I think that's important. So the SDS ban is the most perfect of these, where you took away a tool that was very good and replaced it with an inferior one. And then you took away a second tool that was very, very good and replaced it with an inferior one. So now there are greater decision points that have to be made during the game. When a Fumio costs 1, you can pretty much jam it in most game states. When it costs 3, it becomes much more restrictive. Much the same, there is another bouncer you could run. The problem is it's red. And you're already using all the other colors. So, could you run it? Sure, the deck has red cards. You could run it. But you're introducing another layer of complexity to the game state that makes your decision making hard. This is the type of ban list change we should attempt to achieve every time, where nobody is saying that deck is not good. Nobody is saying that deck is not playable. The thing is that now you won't be able to have everything all the time in every situation. You might have to pick and choose. And I think ultimately that's a good thing for the game. It's not a good thing for the game to be able to just whirlwind slam your opponent regardless of deck state. That's a very bad thing for the game. So, SDS A+, thumbs up, great job, you did it. The worst of these 3 is probably slime. Once again, the designers of the game have failed to understand what makes decks good. And this deck, it's no exaggeration to say that this deck has been tier 1 for the entire time that Slime 3 has been out. And that we have to be well over a year at this point of dealing with the exact same builds, like 40 card shells, for well over a year, almost completely unchanged. If anything, we're finding more and more ways to use the exact same shell. And while this ban list restrict does do something, I think that in 60 to 70% of games, they won't feel it at all. And then in the 30...
If you're not 8 pants, like most archetypes that are not like 8 pants, like empty combo or 0 combo, will feel fine. Like if you're playing standby or door or like a level 1 combo.
I think, yeah, and the more that I've thought about it, the more I think that even the 0 combo will be okay. Your board will just suck, which is okay, probably. So you lose your Yeoman Mirror and Bonder. What does this do? The most important things that it does is, 1, no free clock sculpting, no free level ups. So those 2 things are 100% gone. The other thing it does is
free board.
No exchanging your garbage cards for Muron. So you're going to have to sculpt a Muron some other way. You have many. Just use those. But also, the reliability of triple Muron is probably lower. I don't know if it's super significant, but it's lower. And on top of all that, now having to sculpt more Murons also means that the chance that you'll have triple Muron plus Shuna is much lower. Because you just simply won't have enough stock or won't have enough sculpting tools or both. And that's fine too. Because most builds were already not really putting Shuna on the board anyway. They were waiting for situations where it would be good. Now it'll just be like that, but even worse now, where you will only put Shuna down if you badly need to crowbar your opponent with power or cut off access to any sort of like counterplay. So this is a bad restrict because it doesn't address the core problem. One, it still makes slime. It puts slime in a position where they can still negate all counterplay during the combat step of the end game. That sucks because we're adding more and more counterplay with every single set, and every single set they get to keep ignoring it.
Blue Archive. Does Albuda have? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the choice deck has some counterplay. Persona incoming. The sets that they specifically talked about wanting slime to be around to fight, and it does so in like the worst way possible, where all of the defensive counterplay is negated.
Yeah, so that's annoying. And then also you kind of left the core shell of what makes that deck good completely intact, so you can still triple Muron is still going to be on the table a lot of the times of the game, and triple Muron is still going to flatten and stabilize the game a lot of the times in the game, just like it did before. The standby deck is mostly unperturbed by this change. They weren't running that many bonders anyway, and the door deck is also mostly unperturbed by this change because they can now just take those extra slots and put in more of the bonders for their door combo to make the door combo better. So
they can do that. They can do a host of other things. All of the door decks now, or actually most decks in general now don't need two colors at one.
No.
If you're running a one combo.
Yeah.
Right? You can just, you can play into red as an example.
Yeah, or you could
standby, or either of the door combos, the Crone at home thing.
Yeah, the other thing is that this opens up play for Ramirez. Ramirez used to be the old reliable that came down at one to like flatten out the board a little bit and release pressure.
But I think it's just it's enough early stock that you probably just don't want to.
It depends on whether you're going first, I guess.
Maybe.
Because if you're going second, then you build 3 and you spend 1, you build 3, now you're at 5. It's like, okay, well now I got some money to sculpt plus triple Muron or whatever. So
yeah.
The point being, you still have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of good options. This does not achieve the goal I think that they were hoping to achieve.
I think what it actually does is it raises the floor.
Yeah, it does increase the skill cap required to pilot the deck. Before it was mostly brain dead.
Before it was in hell.
Yeah,
the floor was like in the core of the earth.
Yeah, now the floor is raised up a bit. You cannot be completely brain off for the first half of the game. You'll have to actually like make some decisions about how your sculpting is going to go and what your board's going to look like. This might also relieve some pressure from your opponent in situations where you just can't field good boards. So
which is going to be a lot more common now, especially if you're playing the 8 pants variant still. If you're playing either the door, any of the red combo decks, standby, door, or door. I mean, it'll be what it is. Your board will be fine. I know that there's a while back, I think Shizukat's made a build with the wind combo.
Yeah, Diablo.
Yeah, Diablo.
Why not? It'll work.
Kind of reasonable, but at the same time, it's on wind.
Yeah. So, feel free to comment your own opinions on what you think of the ban list.
Yeah, we know we're late, but
yeah.
But the thing is, we're not actually late. We've let you crystallize your thoughts.
That's right.
We've let you mull it over a little bit. Give us some reasonable, measured takes instead of fresh off the presses. Why didn't they fucking kill slime? I can't believe they did this. God bless. SDS still has stock swap Fumio. It's definitely just exactly the same, etc., etc.
Yeah, so for me, if SDS is an A, this is like a C. Like, it does something, it just doesn't address the core goals.
I just want them to hit Muron to death.
Yeah, I think Muron to 2 or including the stock swap in this whole choose options. One of those two things would have improved things dramatically for the oppression that players face when they face this deck. I think they just don't fundamentally understand how awful it is to deal with a level 0 stock swap that's like the Sword of Damocles anytime they have money. Like, as soon as it looks good, man, they can just drop it on you, especially following a successful Muron turn where they get triple Muron and then block. So, well, that'll all continue to happen. I expect to see Slime at Worlds. I expect to see Slime do well at Worlds. Our final.
Yeah, let's count the slime tops for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And if it's still topping, like I expect, if it's still topping, then yep. All right, man. How many more top cuts does Slime need to take before we just kill it?
Yeah.
How many?
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe the introduction of quintuplets will.
Yeah, bro, definitely.
Will change things.
Yeah.
All right. Our last restrict is obviously the Overlord one.
They restricted the 1/1 with the Yuri 2/1 and another card.
Yeah,
the Vampire
Bride.
Bride. Yeah. Which, funnily enough, hits the player that actually won with Overlord the least. He only played one Yuri, or she, or they, or whoever. I don't know them. They only played one Yuri, and they didn't play the Vampire Bride package.
Yeah. So again, this is the wrong type of restrict where you've taken a deck that was already very unreliable and had very few tools to help it, and you made it have no tools at all. So now they do not possess any cards that can assist them with getting bar.
You have a check 3 brainstorm.
Yeah, no reliable way. So
you're telling me that drawing 2 is more reliable than coin flipping the first 4 cards and then drawing 3?
The thing is
Maybe?
that, yeah, you first need to hit the climaxes, which are the things you need to draw. So first you take climaxes out of the deck to try and draw climaxes.
Yeah.
It's a little, only slightly counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But this leaves them with very, very, very few tools for getting bars. And so this deck had a number of unreliability points already. The other thing it does is it leaves them without their best clock control mechanic. Most of their other clock mechanics require reverse. So they have very bad level control now, and they've lost a ton of free drawing. So the situations in which this deck can brick now have just increased exponentially.
Dude, how funny would it be if somebody made a build with that stupid Shioko?
Yeah.
With the bug?
Yeah.
For your blue?
Yeah, sure.
So you have red, green, blue, and you have the Shioko 1/0. And then if you need to level yourself up to 2, you just...
I honestly...
like the Oshinoko play.
The thing is that, like, there's so few of those in existence. Whoever that person is like, wealthy beyond compare, probably. So, or they were at Worlds that year.
Yeah.
But in any case, yeah, this is an F. Like, this is the worst thing you could do. It's not like a Z like Alice where you're like, take it out back and shoot it in the head. But you almost did. Like, this is like cutting...
I mean, that's honestly almost preferable. At least then you can...
move on.
Yeah, you can just
like
move on.
Have a funeral.
Yeah, you can have a funeral.
This is like a person that like got into a car accident but didn't die. And now they're on life support, but you can't leave because, you know, they're technically still alive. It's possible. It could work, but
yeah, they just lost use of most of their limbs. It's okay.
Yeah, no, you can live a normal life after that. But
yeah.
But in any case, yeah, this is obviously a terrible choice that they've made. I understand if you don't want Overlord to be part of your meta, I understand that. Just take it out back. Like, don't leave the thing's head half cut off, like just bleeding out.
Like the annoying broken part is still there.
Yeah. The thing is,
it's just only gonna happen 50% or 60% of the time now.
Yeah, the thing is that you'll still lose to this shit in the most awful ways imaginable. It'll just feel even worse somehow because now your opponent is just hard sacking you instead of actually like making choices that might outcome the game a little bit. No.
Yeah.
They're just like, I just
maybe,
drew a bar, guys.
Yeah, it's like maybe I can, I have to conserve my life here. How much do I vampire bride? How far can I dig with Yuri? Like any sort of skillful maneuver you can make. No. Did I trigger a draw bar? Yes. Now I win. Did I not do that? Okay, that's bad. Do I play 4 climax swappers like the guy that won with it?
You do now.
Did I draw a door? Nope. That's bad too.
Move it to the backstage. Try again next turn.
Yeah, dude, it's cooked. Anyway, well, I guess since we just discussed the banlist at length, we're just in the spike corner, and let's talk about the rest of BCS Chicago and all the other BCSs that happened. We're definitely not an American biased podcast. It couldn't be us. America? Who is she? Anyways, jokes aside, there's also the Santiago Weiss event in Chile, January 18th, and the same weekend as Chicago, the Cologne tournament in Germany, where Slime won. Wow, there were 2 Slimes in the finals, and then there were 3 more Slimes in the rest of the top 16. Whoa.
Yeah, so,
The Slime? There's even the Shuna Miron slime with the salvage split soul in that top 16. And we got all the slime variants going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty rough.
Oh, Milam Benimaru. Is that 8 standby?
It is not. It is door
standby. It's door standby with the level 1 Milam from oh no, wait, I forgot. There's a new level 1 Milam. I was excited for a second.
Nope.
It's literally just regular Milam into standby Benimaru. And hear me out. All of the surrounding slime shell parts are still good.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Yep.
We don't need Muron to make it literally free.
Yeah.
It's not necessary.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen the Benimaru 2 combo, but in any case.
What do you mean? We literally saw it last episode.
Yeah.
It was in a top 8 in like Vancouver. It was top 8 Vancouver. It was 8 standby instead of Milam. Anyway, but yeah, like we just saw it.
Yeah.
It's a very reasonable standby.
I guess
combo.
I meant in real life.
Oh, okay, yeah, because all the degenerates in Dallas just play the only slime deck that they consider worth playing, which is just not Benimaru. But yeah, I mean,
yeah. If we look at Rosemont, we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slimes in the top 16, and then the rest of it is kind of populated by all the usual suspects. So
Hololive, SDS, Freeran, Overlord, Bochi the Rock.
Yep. So basically 4 sets populating the entire top 16.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about the Hololive set that got second. The 2 Freeran decks that are here are very different, and one of them kind of built in a highly unorthodox way where they use the book level 1 combo and the pants TD combo.
Yeah, it's a bit funny.
I don't think I've seen this configuration before. I really do like the level 1 that the book combo works around.
You just get to draw a free card.
Drawing a free card every turn sounds insane, and also you get to solidify a better back row than you do in the pants decks, because the pants deck doesn't have another card to go back there. Like it ends up being either 2 brainstorms or you leave that spot empty for the entire game, because they don't really have any level 2 supports worth playing. They don't really have any level 3 supports worth playing. It's just there's nothing to go there.
Yeah,
and so
people don't generally slot in. I think there's a JC, right? But I think people just don't normally slot it in there.
Yeah,
It's
it
like the
just
Himmel.
it feels like the weakness of 8 pants builds or pants level 1 in particular is the fact that you have this unoptimized board that has like a slot that's just hanging out there, and it would be cool if one of your events was like, you know, mobility gear style event where you could move Fern back there and like dodge some stuff.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you almost perma have the slot free.
Yeah, exactly.
But you don't. So that's unfortunate. So I do like I do like the book level 1 game. The rest of this build is kind of spicy, honestly. It's got the Himmel and Freerin early play that also is a good way to dump if you have too many resources and you just want to be broke. That's a really good way to use them. You can pay 3 and pitch 2 and burn 4. The Zero game, kind of a little bit awkward, relying heavily on the Memory Himmel and the JC.
Yeah, speaking of the JC.
And then...
Wait, Levine or Kana? What is Kana here for? Top checking.
She's a
clock checking too. Nice.
Yeah,
nice,
she's got a clock swap and a scry.
Cool.
It's completely fine. Nothing wrong with it. I'm not sure.
I mean, it's for getting those events that they can never get into their hand. Clearly, they're running 3 stock shuffles and 4 effectively hand to stock events.
Yeah, 4 of the downgrade event, 3 of the stock shuffle event.
Which is funny to have a hand to stock event for a finisher that discards 2 cards for your finisher, but
it is.
You know, it's you know, stock is cool. Maybe you're just spending a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's this deck doesn't generate a super ton, but its finisher is pretty cheap, so I guess there's that.
I like the 1 copy of the Freerin that's supposed to go with the Himmel. For just
reason
super,
to go on a journey, Freerin.
Yeah, just to full int them. Like if you see them, you know, leave like a 3-card deck with a climax in it, you just like totally coin flip their dumbass and you're like, ha ha, I got rid of your climax and now I'm gonna burn you 4.
There's definitely
that would be the most I'm almost sure that it has to have happened at some point. It would also be the most int thing in the universe. Like, go fuck yourself. You know, your opponent's sitting there like, yeah, they're playing the burn 4. I'm gonna leave a climax in the small deck. It's gonna be really good. And then they're just like, what if I hit you with my one of bottom 2 check? I cheat once. 1 sig. 1 easy revenge.
Yeah.
Single pay 2 for 1 easy revenge.
Yeah, I don't. It's fine, I guess.
It's there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm almost sure it's happened, or they just wanted to run it. I don't know.
Yeah, I would love to see.
This is version 6 of their deck, apparently. So I mean, they've
been cooking.
They've been at it, yeah. Like they've been cooking with it.
So the other Freerin deck that got top 16 is a bit more what you would expect. It's an 8 pants deck. It uses the TD finisher also, but it has the 8 pants stuff. So flight magic and magic for finding lost accessories, and then both of these decks are running 4 of the TD Brainstorm, but this deck obviously is running Fern Brainstorms on top of the TD Brainstorms. So, because the Fern Brainstorm's ability to interact during event placement is one of the strongest parts of the set. So the main attractiveness of playing all these events is not only the event ability, you know, what happens when you play the event, but the Fern Brainstorm scries to and reorders on 3 times per turn on event placement, which is a crazy amount of top 2 manipulation. So if a Freerin player triggers, it's because they wanted to. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
So congrats. It looks like that's of the sets that released this year. Recently, that seems like the only set that's gotten any traction.
Boach of the Rock. I guess that's not super recent.
It's not super recent. No. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, and I think the three recent being able to look at the three recent tournaments, or recent quote unquote, being able to look at these three tournaments is actually a really good example of how well a deck with a high floor performs the more people there are at an event. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
We look at Santiago, 51 players, very diverse top 8. You know, one slime, not even running Muron, 2 Hollow Lives, JoJo's, Darkness, Azure Lane, Bar Shenanigans with Cats probably, Spy 8 Pants, and a Chloe Mari. Like some, and a Miko Sora was second, right? We go to Cologne, starts to tamper down a little bit, you know. A lot of slime, a lot of Muron slime, good amount of SDS. We have the 4th place JoJo's, 2 Choice and Pants. We have a Nino here, Himeno Aki there, and 2 Ruby lists even, you know?
Yeah, so you're starting to see the effect of like a lack like Ruby's matchup against Slime feels incredibly difficult. And so you're starting to look and see some of the like things that happen when you don't have like a super big tournament where you have a whole bunch of people meta slaving.
Yeah. And so in Cologne, bigger tournament, still top 16, 127. And kind of expectedly, just a lot more of the decks with a high floor. And then we still have a smattering of fun stuff, we'll say. Ruby, JoJo's, the like. And then we look at Rosemont. There are like 4 sets. It is filtered out to the very top decks that won't explode after like 6 rounds. Or after like 5 or 6 rounds.
Yeah, so a lot of these decks are the decks that people would point at as easy to pilot, the decks that people would point at as having very linear gameplay lines. You do have 2 Overlord decks here, but...
And there's a Chloe Ollie, which is cool.
Yeah, Chloe Ollie is cool. I bet that's one of those blow up the board decks too, because it probably has... the Hato to disintegrate the board and then revive the ollies on climax placement.
Yep.
So that's a super cool deck. Fun strategy. Very unique sort of gameplay approach. But a lot of these decks are the decks that just won't brick. They just won't brick. And so
as hard or as easily.
Yeah, it's much more difficult to reach game states that you can't play. So that's just what happens when you get to a bigger event, is that the amount of like the lines of play have to tighten up quite a bit for your deck to survive over the course of like what is probably 12 to 14 rounds of gameplay. So this is a good visual.
I think this was
that.
I think it was still 7 rounds though. So
yeah, 7 rounds and then 16-8 4, right? Yeah. So a lot of gameplay. Yeah. And so this is a good visual of that. If you look at, you know, Chile, Cologne, and then Rosemont all together, you start to see what that sort of looks like. So it's really that's a really solid takeaway for people to understand about the game and about card games in general. Is that like the bigger the event, the lower the variance of what's gonna survive the Swiss. Now, also, it's worth understanding that Worlds is a very small event, and there's no meta snapshots that are gonna happen prior to Worlds. So after Pasadena, that's it. So most of the sets will be out, but not all of them. And it will be, for the people who get invites and attend, it's worth understanding that it is highly likely that you will see stuff that you've seen before. It is also highly likely that somebody is cooking something that you've never seen before, and they're waiting to unleash it on you.
I can't wait for the one person in the world that found the actual real Nikkei list to just win Worlds with it. They're just waiting. They're just holding on, you know? They're like, this is it. This is the broken combo. Everybody else in my local, shut the fuck up. All right, no, hold on. Just chill.
Yeah. Secretly hoping that's me. But,
yeah.
But in any case, yeah, it's important. That's an important takeaway.
Yeah. And so that's our breaking news / spike corner all wrapped up. And now it's time to go to the content farm. We've had a little bit of a slow start to the year, lots of life's ups and downs coming at us, but we're still here, we're still chatting. And so today we had to pull something out from the content farm. One of the crops has been growing for a long time, you could say for a year. It's been grown for a while by some of the local players, Hyper, Sparkfire, and Soru, Taiki, to some degree. It's the DFW Weiss Schwarz rat. We're farming it for content. Now's the time. We could have done it last episode, but we had Carter on last episode, so we ran out of time. But now we can really farm it for content. Bill ended up making a post on Global talking about it, ending up tracking 161 local tournaments, tracking different local players' performances, different set statistics, all kinds of different stuff. 82 unique players in the DFW area over time. Lots of visitors, lots of people coming in to say hello, to check stuff out, to play a few games of Weiss Schwarz. 71 different decks, sets, 320 different decks total played, and the most popular: Slime, Hololive, Chainsaw Man. From the spring season, Chainsaw Man still remained just the top most played set.
I think in the time it took Chainsaw Man to get restricted, or
it's the second, yeah.
Yeah, I think prior to the Chainsaw Man restrict, I think I had like a 90% win rate with that deck. I think I went like 15-2.
Oh,
I won like 2
man.
Chainsaw Man cups.
Oh, jeez.
That deck, it's so difficult. If you just didn't get a chance to face that deck before it got restricted, it's so difficult to explain how awful that was. We did an episode, and it's almost an entire episode dedicated to it. So feel free to go back into the archives from last season and look at our Chainsaw Man math episode. It's horrifying.
It's bad. But also, the actual most played deck was Standby Muron, because we're just a bunch of... Dallas has got a few Standby Muron merchants. All right, that's what we've got on the table.
Yeah, it turns out one of the guys that got second at Worlds was playing Standby Muron, and then one of the other guys that went to Worlds was playing Standby Muron. And so there was probably a solid 3-month chunk there where it was probably mostly 2 Standby Murons wandering around every tournament. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's disgusting because it was literally right after the ban list. It was just like, that's like the first archetype I really landed on. I was like, I don't like the door as much. I don't like this as much. We'll try Standby. And then we went Duluth with it. I was like, ha.
Yeah, dude.
Guess I keep playing it.
Yeah, dude.
So, in any case, it's a great time. We've got a lot of fun stats here. Most deck variations, no surprise, it's Hololive 36, but second is Sal. We got a few Sal merchants around. The infamous Sal girl, as people apparently know that she just plays Sal.
Yeah,
it's like a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played it quite a bit.
Taiki as well
for WGP stuff.
Taiki as well played more than a few variations throughout the year.
People know I'm an SAO merchant. They're aware. Like, they're not confused.
Are you? When was the last time you played Sal?
When Alice was still alive.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, and JP where Alice is still alive.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, fake Sal merchant hasn't even tried to peddle the wares in the last calendar year.
Shit's garbage. I don't know what to say. Look what they did to my girl. Anyway.
Big Dream with 15 was the third most deck variations as well. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Jinx. It's funny to look at all the overall set usage statistics, and you can see you can see me in this. We removed all of the names, for like identity protection's sake, but you can still see my statistics for the most part because Bill only really played like 8, 10, 20 maybe Review Starlight games, and then the rest of this 195 games of Review Starlight is one individual.
If you have been listening to the Refresh Point for any period of time, really, including the last 5 minutes, you would know that Ben is very much one of the strongest Review Starlight soldiers that there is.
I almost feel just committed to the bit now. Like now I just want to make it happen. It's close enough. I can cheat. I can cheat on my opponent's deck. I can cheat on my deck. And if I just don't make a horrendous misplay on turn 2 that I'm not seeing, it's pretty good. It feels okay.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about it. It's like, and I think that's kind of the thing with most mid-tier decks, is that when you're playing a deck that the floor, the skill floor is not so high, all of your decisions matter, like extensively.
Yeah.
And it's not even funny sometimes how much I'll be like, I'll play a game, I'll be like, this, whatever, I'm not thinking too hard. This seems like a reasonable clock, whatever. 2 turns later, fuck, I just lost me the whole game. God bless.
Yeah.
Like...
I think that, yeah, I think, especially if you're new to the game, you joined in the last year or 2 years, and you're playing at the top of the meta or near the top of the meta, yeah, I think people are keenly unaware of how challenging some of the decision making can be when you just don't have every sculpting tool on the earth.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's very difficult to pilot a deck that has somewhat weak choices, especially at 0, because one small mistake, or what appears to be a very small mistake, will quickly death spiral your hand or board state or both. And it's something that used to be a lot more present in the game, but it's gone away more and more as we've started to shift the game toward, like, the power creep of the game has just gotten very high. So it used to be a character had an ability on play or it had an ability on death. Now sometimes it has it on both. And it used to be that it's like, okay, I could discard a card to get a mechanic, or I could pay stock to get a mechanic. Now, frequently, it's both. Zeros have so many abilities now that I never expect a 0 to have one ability. If it has one ability, it probably has 4,000 power or something. There's almost nothing that would make me want to run a 0 that has one ability. It would have to be an absolutely obscene ability.
That's so funny. I'm literally running vanilla drop search because I don't want forced mill 2 as the other ability.
Yeah. And so you start to see that too if you look at Freerin, if you look at some of the incoming sets that are coming into the game, you'll see their climax swap has an ability, but
dude, fucking Freerin, dude. Oh, my climax swap is also level 0 bottom decker.
Yeah.
My utility card's also a good level 0 swinging card. Ha 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 ha.
But then you'll see these cards that are coming into the game from other sets, like I was building for P3 a month ago. I am a huge Persona merchant, and so I was building for P3 and JP, and I'm looking at this Climax Swapper, and that's all it does. Climax Swapper.
Yeah.
Power. 2,500 power. Or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Regular, normal card.
Yeah,
And I was like, is this it? And it's a premium booster for those of you who don't know. And so I'm looking through I looked through the whole set.
This guy's fucking spoiled.
It's also a climax swap from the waiting room.
Yeah, spoiled.
And so
that's what I got in my movie set. Yeah, dude. What
so
the hell, man?
It's wild to see the difference between a deck that is at the top of the meta, that has the most luxurious mechanics available, and decks that are just normal.
Yeah.
Because you see the Chainsaw Man Climax Swapper.
Yeah.
And you're just like
any one of like the 4.
Yeah.
Because they do have the vanilla
have the normal one.
anyways.
And they have 2 better ones.
3. arguably.
Yeah.
There's the 3-5 that's on death, pay 1, ditch 1 from waiting room, so that you can use it as a beater, and then when it dies the turn after, you can swap, or you can kill it with Sakuma to get value and then also climax swap. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There are 3 better climax swaps than the vanilla one, which is stupid.
So, or like you're playing a drop search, a regular card drop search, and then maybe it like gives power on attack or something, and then you see the Hololive green drop search
On play, drop search.
on death,
drop search, on play, check top 2, rearrange, discard any amount of them.
Yeah. Why does it have so many abilities? That's one of those questions that's come up more and more as the game's got matures. Why does it have so many abilities?
It's too funny, dude, because I remember like discussing the drop search options for review, and we were like talking about it, and there are 3 cards that have what you would call a drop search effect in like all 3 sets, right? So the blue one, which I think we've already discussed, is it's on play drop search, on play forced mill 2, give 1/5 if you mill a climax. So it's like if I'm depressed, then I guess I get 1500 power. And it's a forced mill 2 where it's like, do I want to drop search and mill 2 with this deck of 10 cards all the time? Not really. No. No. And so it's I'm like looking at other options. I'm like, okay, well, we have vanilla drop search. It's just vanilla drop search on a 2500. It's a promo. It's a box topper. They put this on a box topper because there are no other vanilla non-milling drop searches in all of the sets. And the last drop search is on play. Pay 2. Ditch 2 to search 2 and gain 3000 power. And so it becomes a 5k level 0 after you pay 2 ditch 2.
That's it's like too much. That's like it's like when if you saw like a hamburger and you were like, man, that looks good. You know what would be better? A hamburger with a hamburger inside of it. You'd be like, whoa, easy. You're going too far. More is not always better. But to kind of circle back to the data.
Yeah. So let's look at the leaderboards. Shiny Mass, even in this English favored locals meta, Shiny Mass, best win rate, 76%, almost entirely one player playing it.
Yeah.
And also, he also played Cinderella Girls, which has the 2nd highest win rate. And he also played Neela Muron, which has the 3rd highest win rate.
So
76, 72, 72. And all of these archetypes were mainly played by one player.
So I want to talk about this briefly because it came up as part of it was on Twitter, and one of the prominent members of the California Weiss community was talking about win rates, local win rates, and he speculated that his win rate, which was I think 70+%, was lower than it had been in the past, but still 70+% local win rate is insane. So when I read that, I thought about, and I commented on it, and I was just like, there's no way that your win rate is that high without one of 2 things happening. Either one, you're just that fucking guy at Weiss Schwarz, or your competition level is just not there. Like you're head and shoulders above your competition. And so I pretty much said that, and I'll go ahead and say it. Apparently, I was wrong. There is a way you can just be playing the best decks in the game and doing a really good job at it. That's the other way.
That is the other way. I mean, like, it makes sense to some degree, but I mean, you know,
it just felt like an insane number. Where 70% is like, man, you are just too, like, you're 3-1ing every night. That's crazy.
I think everybody is surprised by the Cinderella Girls one because there really isn't that much specifically special about that deck in comparison to like almost all of the other decks. But he was just that guy. He just had the blocks all the time, and he's a good player already, obviously, and then he just had it. So whenever he played Cinderella Girls, it was like, yeah, here's my very normal deck, and now you lose. And we're like, how did this happen? And we're both like, I don't know. I guess it just did.
Yeah.
He's good enough.
Yeah. So, Congrats. That's crazy.
Yeah. That guy's a killer. Killer. Yeah. All the other above 50% win rate decks, you can adore Birdcage, 8-Pants Spy, 8-Bar Set Guy. Shout out to Bill, because I'm pretty sure that's just him. Maybe it's also Hyper, but I'm not sure. 64% SDS, 63% Cats, 8-Bar Cats in particular. 61% for Yotsuba. That's one guy. 60% 8-Book Frieren. I don't know who was playing that the most. But now with these a lot of these win rates are starting to be, and it kind of already was, it's kind of like low amounts of played games.
Yeah.
And just like
high
variance and high win rates. The Milan Muron was already like 25 games for 72%. So you get a Birdcage with 69% win rate with 23 games. Like the actual like high played and high win rate, it's like Spy 8-Pants with 76 games at 67% win rate. SDS with 162 games logged at 64% win rate.
That win rate is real as fuck.
Yeah.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah. And then if we look at all of the deck stats, I mean, there's just so many decks. It really is.
Yeah, we tried a couple different ways to like order it and so it would be like more readable, but I think in general it's just a lot of data. So yeah, the
oh, you know, it is funny though, speaking from where I'm at, you can see all of my really shitty like bad like Review Starlight decks and their like horrible win rates. There's a time that I played, it was some kind of meme. I don't know why this meme existed. Win, standby, shot.
What?
I don't remember. I'm sure if we went back through the whole archive of the last year, we would find the episode where I talk about this meme lord list. I ended up playing 10 games on it. Or it was somebody else. There was like another review player at some point at one of the locals on their like summer break or something. That might have been them, actually.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It feels likely enough to be me though, because it's super weird. Anyway, 1 game out of 10 for the sick 10% win rate.
Oof.
And then like everything else is just like right below 50 or 50-50. I'm truly just a coin flip player. 8 choice, which was the list that I was kind of repping before switching to pants at the end of the year, basically just ended at pure 20 40 games, 50% win rate.
Nice.
Lamau. And funnily enough, the list that I pivoted to right afterwards, so it only got logged for 1 local. Pants choice, 2, 4 total games, 50% win rate.
That's crazy.
Just a pure coin flip player. My ability to make horrendous misplays that lose me the game on turn 2 happens approximately 50% of the time. And if I can just make that happen less, maybe we can get that win rate positive. Oh, man. It's too funny. Taking a look at our year at a glance, we do have month over month a lot of our most played games for completely out of order, kind of like our last kind of tab on the spreadsheet here for the DFW Weiss Schwarz Wrapped. We didn't play that much in February. It looks like there's only
It turns out there was something going on in February. Can't remember much.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. There just weren't that many games, These Dallas players, they say they're all grinders, but in February there were only 13 games played of CSM and 6 of some of the others, 4 of a few others. Can't imagine why, 5 people qualifying to Worlds? Fake news. That didn't happen. That's just not. Anyways, March, another 101 games CSM as everybody got home from Japan and started prepping. 41 games of Muron Standby, 33 games of Pants Choice Spy. Because there was a good amount of time where Pants Choice Spy was played, and you could see me playing 26 games of Review Starlight.
What's wild is you can pinpoint the exact moment in which Chainsaw Man gets restricted.
That's true. So April, you can see 55 games. And by myself, I got Review Starlight to 3rd in April with 35 games. I think Taiki single-handedly put Albuda 8 choice to 2nd at 40 games. And then in May, Taiki still putting Albuda 8 choice in 2nd with 33. 52 games for Chainsaw Man.
It's already restricted by this point. That's the sad part, is those 2 months, it's already been restricted, and it's still, by far, the highest amount of games played among any deck.
No. When was the restrict? The restrict was in summer. It just says restricted stock so far. I don't think it was actually restricted.
Keep going. Yeah, keep going. When does it drop out of first?
No, when does it drop out of first? July, after the ban list. And then the top play deck is Muron Standby.
Of course it is. We have a steady 50 to 100 games of Chainsaw Man every single month. The second it gets restricted, straight to 0.
Straight to 0. Directly to hell. And then August 57 Muron Standby. September 64 Muron Standby. October, we had a good amount of SDS and OSK play.
Yeah, the OSK release. Sure.
Yeah. And then in November, top 3 all slime archetypes. Muron Standby, 8 pants, Muron, and Salvage Soul pads. 37, 35, 25 in November. Just all Muron, all slime, all the time. Slime. Woohoo.
Yeah, see, people, if you were curious why I'm a slime hater, you see what these people are doing to me? Do you see what they're doing to me? This is my local.
It's actually also why he hates Review at this point so much, because he's had so many games where I just put down the cheat Karen, I rest it, I take a look at his top 3 cards, and he's like, is it clean? I'm like, yeah. or I'm like, put that card on top, and he's like, is it a block? And I just don't say anything. And then I side with the giraffe because I used it to check the soul trigger on top. I'm like, block on 1. And he's like, okay.
It's just like, This month, it's just like literally
he
three
gets
slime decks.
hate piled onto the decks that he just gets routinely like beat in the face with. Like, as if it happens more often, it like builds up the hatred within him.
It's just one of those things where it's like, can't you guys just find something else? Does the top 3 is all slime? Is that necessary? Like, do I?
I mean, it was
am
only
I forced to be?
It was only the 1 month, and then in December, slime wasn't even in the top 5, and nothing could have happened in December to prevent people from playing that much Weiss Schwarz. No, nothing was going on in December at all. You know, holidays, fake news. Philadelphia tournament didn't happen. You know, people going out of town for things, unreasonable to me. You know, it's definitely a real data point with real data.
But anyway, thank you to everybody who put this together. Thank you to the people who tirelessly record this data at all of our local events. You are the real heroes. Without that, we wouldn't have this free content, and honestly, we'd have to start coming up with our own content, which no one wants to see or hear.
What?
So
Wait, no, they do. Like that's how we started this podcast, was by like starting to do like original Weiss content. That was kind of the whole point. It's like, it's what we've built our like approximately 200 like listener base on. It's just like not only like remarking on tournaments, but also, you know, like but yeah, we did get bailed out this time. We're gonna play your ambitious decks. We had our tumultuous times, and now we're going to play them. Next episode, if we don't play them, I don't know. We'll do something horrible.
Whatever. Yeah, the preparation for Worlds is well and truly underway. So if more ambitious decks come in over the next couple of months,
I will do that.
It will probably be more Ben than me.
It will be me, but Steve, you still have to play at least.
But I definitely still have the Heaven Burns Red deck that I'm going to.
You gotta play that.
Yes, yeah, obviously I'm going to complete that. And we will never half-ass your ambitious deck builds. We always take them to events and play them at least 10 plus times, and we do our best to give the most feedback we can.
So it's still cooking. We're not just gonna play them for 3 sim games and throw it in the garbage. All right, we're going to try. That's the whole point. So we're getting it in there. Thanks for commissioning. Thanks for listening. I'll see some of y'all in Tampa. I don't know that this episode's gonna get edited before that point. I've got some family visiting from overseas, and we're hanging. So it's a busy time, and Tampa is literally right when I fly to Tampa the same day my cousin flies back overseas, back home, which is very funny.
Yeah.
But it also means that my time in between recording this episode, picking him up, like literally right after this episode recording is over, and then being able to edit it somewhere in between, and also full-time job, and like it's gonna be a little funky, all right, but
we're gonna we'll do our
we'll do our level best.
Right. We know that Ben, of the two of us, Ben is the one that is gonna get the most work done. So we never worry much because Ben gets it done. So
True. And that's our show for today. So tune in next time after your next deck out, and don't you forget to take the refresh point.